Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever it is, folks. This is Cool, and welcome back. Today we're going to be starting our Pokemon strategy series, with the first Pokemon up being Heatmor. Now, I know Heatmor isn't always isn't a Pokemon that people like to go to and isn't a really used Pokemon, and that's what I like to stick to with my series. I like to show the potential in Pokemon that you don't normally see in any sort of competitive setting. Like, you really don't ever see Heatmor, and he's listed and underused in Smogon. But I actually use Heatmor in a number of different teams and in a number of different ways. He has a lot of different coverage. He has really decent. He has decent stats, and and if supported well, he can really take down some major threats and deal tons of damage. I've had him everything from one shot a Mega Camerupt, one shot Mega Salamence. I mean, like I said, he has a ton of damage potential, and he has a ton of potential in general to take out a ton of different Pokemon, especially if you're running in doubles. And if you're running in singles, he does have potential in singles. I prefer to run him in doubles, but like I said, he is a really good Pokemon overall, and he has lots of coverage. He's really dependent on the way you want to run him. And that's as you will see here. In this first build, we're going to have Heatmor with the item Citrus Berry. And you can either switch between the ability Flash Fire or Gluttony. The Gluttony will let you utilize Citrus Berry a little bit earlier. As you can see, we have Gluttony here. I prefer Flash Fire because it makes you immune to fire, and it also gives you extra damage on your fire type attacks. Like if you say you're using Flamethrower on something, you get an extra 1.5 times damage with that Flamethrower. With his movesets, you're looking at Giga Drain, Flamethrower, Belch, and Hidden Power Ice. Now, we're going to take a look at each one of these. We're going to have our grass type attack on this fire type Pokemon, which is Giga Drain, which is going to be his sustain. He's going to be pulling some of the life from your opponent, and it's also going to coverage out water types. So if someone sends out a water type, you can Giga Drain them, get a lot of your health back because you're super effective hitting them, and you are gaining health, and you're coveraging out and helping take down a water type with your fire type Pokemon. Like I said, I love how broad his move sets are. He has so many different attacks, so many different type attacks, that he can coverage pretty much anything you need him to coverage. He can fill pretty much any spot on a team: special attack, physical attack, defense, special defense tank, or a mixed tank. It's really up to how you want to play him. We have Flamethrower, which is going to be his stab move, and it's also going to help you coverage out some other Pokemon like Ice and Grass, which aren't so much threats to Heatmor himself, but maybe threats to the rest of your team. After you eat that Citrus Berry, you get the Belch attack, which is a poison type move, helping you giving a little bit more coverage and giving you a super high base power attack, special attack to go with your whole entire moveset. And last but not least, we're going to throw on Hidden Power Ice, just because it gives him a little bit more in his range of coverage, but he has so many other special attacks that you can throw on him that, I mean, I just feel like Hidden Power Ice gives him a little bit extra on top of everything else. More so than some of the other things that he can get. Because you can give him like dark type attacks or things of that nature, but I just feel like Hidden Power Ice does have the best effect on him of his special attacking moves. His physical attacking moves we'll talk about in another build. He has even better range of physical attacking moves than he does special. With his stats, with this build, we're going to give him just a super sweeper build. It's going to be super bulky. We're going to have 85 and he has 85 HP, which we're going to give him 252 EVs in, which is going to give him almost 400 HP. We're going to give him With his 105 base special attack, we're going to give him 252 EVs, which will put him at almost 350 attack. Along with that modest nature to give him special attack, he's not going to have any physical attacking attacks, so we don't mind losing that little bit in attack. In this next build we're going to be looking at, we're going to have a more physical build. He's not going to be running any sort of like buff here. We will be looking at a buff build here in a little bit. With this build, we're going to be having a little bit in defense, a little bit in attack, or a lot in attack, a little bit in defense, and he's going to be kind of a mixed defense build here. We're going to be running Assault Vest to give him that extra special defense to make up for the slightly less, his slightly less defenses here, because we're not maxing either one of them out. You could run this build in terms of stats. You could run this build at 128 in attack. You could sacrifice a little bit of your attack, put it into defense. That way his special defense and defense are both a little higher. He's going to get 1.5 times in his special defense. He's going to have 300 special defense. So special defense is going to be fine. His special attack, or his defense, is what you're going to want. If you're going to want to sacrifice anything in your attack EVs, I would say put them into defense. Like I said, personally, I like to run him like so with this particular build. He's going to be more so defense, a special defensive tank, but you're going to have that little bit extra defensive bulk. With his moves on this build, we're running Fire Punch, Aerial Ace, Thunder Punch, and Super Power, but overall the moves that you run on a physical build are way more varied. We're going to be looking at anything from fighting moves to flying moves to, he has Poison, he has, I think the only moves that he doesn't have, the only types he doesn't have with this are Dragon and Ice. Yeah. And Psychic, because most Psychic moves are special attack. But aside from that, he has pretty much every type attack that you can put on a Pokemon. But this is, I feel like, has some of the better coverage in terms of what types are available. On this, the third build we were looking at today, we have Heatmor with Leftovers, Flash Fire. And this one, he is going to be he's going to be buffing himself. I keep saying that, like, not buffing himself or buffing himself, because in the teams that when I like to run him, I tend to like to run him with someone that has Baton Pass. So that way I can Baton Pass to him some stats. I usually run Lopunny as my Baton Passer because Lopunny gets Cosmic Power, Lopunny gets Power Up Punch, and Lopunny gets Baton Pass. And those are the three of the moves I tend to run on Lopunny. That way Lopunny can support itself and can do some decent damage. And then if it gets into a bind and needs to send someone into its place, I don't have to lose those stats from the Cosmic Power Power Up Punches, and I can switch in someone else that has relatively better stats and can usually sweep a whole team. Because with the extra defenses, Heatmor is amazing. And with the extra attack from Power Up Punch, Heatmor's physical attack build is even better. Looking at this build, he's going to be buffing himself. Now, you can still rely on Lopunny to pass him stats, but just in case, say you didn't, say Lopunny got knocked down to an extremely low amount of health, you can always make up for that by using Curse. Seeing that speed doesn't really matter on Heatmor because most things in the game are going to be faster than him because he only has 69 base speed, Curse, you're not trading off much of anything. You're going to be going last a lot of the time. So you're going to be getting extra +1 in attack, +1 in defense, and you're going to be losing speed. But speed doesn't really matter. Not really. I mean, there are some things he outspeeds, like he outspeeds Mega Camerupt, he outspeeds Gothitelle, but in general, he's not outspeeding a whole lot of things unless you're running him on a Trick Room team. And even then, there are things slower than him, so Trick Room may backfire if you're running him for that reason. We are also looking at having superpower. This is going to be a super high base power attack, which is going to lower your own attack and defense. So this is going to be kind of like a last ditch. I'm going to completely destroy you. I'm going to hit you really hard. You're down to your last 1 or 2 Pokemon, and this is going to be used to finish them off because it's going to do a lot of damage. Next, we're going to look at Aerial Ace as his next move. This is going to help you break. If you're playing VGC, a lot of people like to run minimized teams. This does not check accuracy. It bypasses accuracy altogether. I love to run Aerial Ace. I think Aerial Ace is the only move really that doesn't check accuracy. There are a couple others, but it's the only one that he gets that doesn't check accuracy. And it's one of the reasons why I like to run him. It has a decent base power, which is 60, and you get to hit things that through minimize, through any accuracy minus things that they throw at you. For his last move in this set, we're going to be looking at Sucker Punch. Now, Sucker Punch is a priority move, giving you a little bit extra. Only thing is that your opponent has to be attacking, which if your opponent isn't attacking, he's not going to be hitting you, so you can get your Sucker Punch off to him. This gives him a little bit extra coverage with the Dark typing, and it has a relatively good base power, being 80. It only has 8 PP, but that's fine. It's not going to be something you're going to be completely relying on. With this particular build, you're going to be wanting to break things like minimize and double teams, etc., etc., allowing you to break through those things. The superpower is going to be your fallback on dealing tons of damage really quickly, taking out 1 or 2 Pokemon on the way. And you can always, say you superpower something and they send out something that you feel like you can take a couple hits from, you can get those stats back by using Curse, and you're not really trading much off because you're losing 1 turn, and it kind of becomes a Giga Impact without the minus in HP. Not quite as strong, but it's almost as strong. On our next set, speaking of Giga Impact, we are going to have a moveset with Giga Impact. This is the set I tend to run myself on my doubles team. This is my personal favorite of the Heatmor builds that I have. I do run some of the other ones, but this is the one I run the most. The build being Assault Vest, which is going to come into play similarly as the Assault Vest from this build. The ability Flash Fire is going to power up his Fire Punch if you get hit by a Fire type attack. I love switching him in when you have something like Heatran sitting out there. You throw him in, you get hit by a Fire type attack, and then you can pretty much run rampant on pretty much everything once you're out on the field. Especially if you have that Flash Fire, and especially if you have a buff from Lopunny or any other Pokemon that you can Baton Pass from. So I like to run Fire Punch, Giga Impact, extremely massive damage, especially if you're up against like the last 2 Pokemon and you know that you can take an extra hit. Giga Impact really pretty much one-shots everything at this point, especially once you have any sort of buff on yourself from any other Pokemon. Thunder Punch for extra coverage. You're going to want, you get that 10% extra paralysis, extra chance to paralyze. It has 100% accuracy, but it does check accuracy, so whatever. 75 power. It has decent power. It's got so it's pretty much the same power as all the other punches. But in general, it does give you a little bit of extra coverage. And once again, Aerial Ace. Break through pretty much any sort of evasion, accuracy, shenanigans that people like to play in VGC. If you play Smogon, you can always switch out Aerial Ace for something else. But I like Aerial Ace, extra coverage. but he does have many other moves that you can use in its place for coverage. And here in the last one, oh, I forgot to look at stats on that one, didn't I? Stats here, we're going to look at max in attack, max in defense. You could take the defense, put it in HP, that is up to you. I do like running it in defense because I can because if I'm buffing defense from Lopunny, I get more out of my defense if I have max EVs in it. I don't get as much out of putting it in HP, but if you're not running something that's going to be buffing defense, I would say maybe try putting it in HP because you might get more out of it in the long run. I like the Assault Vest because that's going to buff my special defense, seeing that I'm not giving special defense any attention because it's all going into defense. Assault Vest makes up for that, giving me a little bit extra special defense, especially coming if I'm passing Cosmic Powers from Lopunny onto Heatmor. I am getting a little bit extra in terms of the overall stats. Nature, you can either run your I forgot to put nature on it, and I forgot the name of the nature. You can run Impish or Adamant. You run Impish or Adamant depending on if you want more defense or more attack. And just overall, the builds themselves are fairly simple, but they do coverage. He does have a lot of coverage. That is his main goal, is that you can super effective pretty much anything. And if you're not going for a super effective hit, you're going for a super high powered hit with something like Giga Impact or Superpower, giving him an extreme, but the fact that he has an extremely large move pool gives him an advantage. And even though he has slightly lower stats, he makes up for it with the attacks he gets. If you would like to get a Heatmor, it's going to be this special attack build here. If you would like a Heatmor, you can comment down below and leave a like. Let me know in the comments. Let me know in a comment that you would like to get a Heatmor. I have 30 to give away. The first 30 people to leave their friend code and the fact that they want a Heatmor, I will reply to, I will add you, I will give you my friend code, and I will give you a Heatmor. First 30 people, first come, first serve. And this will go on until I'm out of Heatmor. I can get a couple more if more than 30 people want one. But overall, I really hope you enjoyed the video. And like I said, if you want a Heatmor, go ahead and leave a comment telling me you want one. It will be this build. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Take care. Have a great day. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Peace out.